Ashley Rebel Girl Evan Smith here for Injitsu.com. We have the amazing, the legend in MMA, Michael the Menace Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to jump right in. We know you are in between training sessions right now. So first of all, thank you for joining us. And my first question right off the bat is, we all know you. You've been in this sport for a very long time. The landscape of MMA has changed all over, especially for women. But I want to know, in your opinion, how have things changed over time since you started in the sport?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's obviously gotten so much bigger. My time in the Ultimate Fighter was 2010, I believe, is when it aired. So I'm looking at 11 years in the game right now, 11 years in the UFC right now. And all from us getting the huge sponsors to the Reebok, to the Venom, to the Fox deal, to now the ESPN deal. And it's just grown dramatically. And, fighter pay is always a topic, but it's gotten better, believe it or not. A lot of guys I'm saying it's a problem, which, it could be, but then at the same time, a lot of guys are still happy with it. But I just love, just the attention and everything it's gotten, involving women into the sports now. Like when I started in, it wasn't women's MMA really a big thing. And now it's became, what it is at this day. And it's incredible just to see the evolution of the sport and the way guys are fighting now. And you're seeing a lot more athletes enter the cage as opposed to people that are just fighting. And, you see a lot of guys from different backgrounds, and then you start seeing, oh, well, the NBA players are training MMA, and then the football players, and then you got Stephen A. Smith trying to hit pads, and some of these rappers trying to hit pads. And even though they look horrible, they're still trying the sport, and they're still getting, and they're just putting it on the map more. So, I enjoy seeing that.
Yeah, you're right. Then that's a very positive, that's a great outlook for the sport, right? Whatever grows the sport, that is good for the sport. You've been in the sport forever, like you said. You were on the Ultimate Fighter. What year was that? That was so long ago.
Yeah, it was 2010.
2010. So, I know it's been a long time, right? But sometimes when you go through an experience that is very important, you take with you memories that will never leave you. Is there anything that sticks out right now? First time I ask you, what first memory comes to mind or experience that was with you forever from that Ultimate Fighter experience?
Wow, that's what actually, shit, I don't know what's going on with my computer.
Oh.
Sorry, my Zoom can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you fine. I can hear you fine.
All right, perfect. I can't see you, but I'll figure it out later.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's funny you say that. Literally the first thought that comes to my mind about the Ultimate Fighter is I would never do that again. You're sitting in there for, I would say, what was it, 8 to 12 weeks, I think. And I think it went from like June to almost at the end of July, and me and 13 other guys sleeping 2 feet away from each other, and I'm having to see the same guys day in, day out, and all we're doing is going back and forth to the gym and to the house, gym and house, and it's just crazy. It was geared to mess with the mental side of fighters a lot, to take everything away, to take your cell phones away, to take any connection from the outside world. And like we had a beg cameramen to like tell us what was going on, and we had to beg our driver to, hey dude, at least drive down the strip so we can like have some interaction with people, so we can see people besides you guys, because it's literally 6 to 8 weeks and it's just like a mic and a camera and 13 other guys. And it was a great experience. I definitely love it. It got me into the UFC. It got me to where I am today. And like I said, it was a great experience, but just the time of being in there is just no. Yeah. I wouldn't do it again.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of things in life that, not necessarily the most pleasant, but they shape our character and they make us who we are, and they give us the opportunities to get to where we want to go. I think this sport is very high risk, high reward. That's what I always tell people, at least about my experience, taking short notice fights. I mean, shit, getting in the octagon in general is high risk, high reward, I would say. You're now training, I can see it in the background, at Sanford MMA. And they always say you got to train with the best to be the best. How has training with those guys over there taken your game to the next level or helped you at all?
Yeah. So the thing with Sanford MMA is, we've all here been together for the past, 10, 11 years, honestly. Started off as the Black Zillions and things went wrong. And now, Henry Hoof and Greg Jones got together, and, Carmen Brazzini came in, and they've just built a great team. Guys have just been attracted to coming down here, like Michael Chandler and Gilbert Durino and myself and Kumaro, we all kind of been here from the start, now we got Jason Jackson, who's, making a big thing. And sorry if I'm forgetting a lot of other names, because there's just so many guys, but it's incredible, to know that any given second, you're going to have somebody that's better than you next to you. So you have to, make your game a little bit better. You have to go a little bit harder, and everybody's just making everybody great. And, with a big team like this, people feel that you might miss attention, but when you have guys that have been fighting so long, I mean, we're coaches in ourselves. Robbie Lawler and Nick Lentz joined the team from ATT, and they've just been, incredible additions as well. And Nick does a little bit of coaching here himself, and to have the mindset of guys that have been in the game for so long, you can't buy that. It's priceless.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I actually made a trip out to Florida a few months ago to check things out and got shut down because I guess women are not allowed at Sanford MMA. So
yeah, no, that's a misconception a little bit. A little bit. I don't know. It's not technically where women aren't allowed. It's just we don't have women training here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to have women come in and train when there's nobody to go with them. And maybe our little guys go a little bit hard for you tough ladies sometimes. And but we're trying to protect you ladies. That's all.
I'm sure there's a method to your madness, and I'm just teasing, honestly. I know that you're training hard now, but I think you're on the same side that I am. You're coming off some sort of neck injury. I don't know if you want to say specifically, but what can you tell us about what injury you sustained? How long were you out, and are you good to go now?
Yeah. So back in, before my clay fight, I got a bad knee injury right before that fight, like a week before that fight. And I took that last week off to let it heal and try to make it into the fight. And, I just, like you said, high risk, high reward. I went in there fighting, got that fixed, my knee. I got surgery on my knee. Then I had to get surgery on my neck to fix a vertebrae that was, not there anymore. So I had to get an artificial disc put in. And then on top of that, I had to go get an ankle surgery. Ooh. So I had 3 surgeries back to back to back within from, I don't know, say like May to the end of June. So within like 2 months, I've had all these surgeries, and I've just gotten back down to Florida now. I've just started to be able to where I can move around and actually work out and do things. And so it's incredible. But yeah, it's miserable, coming from what we do. We work out 2 to 3 times a day to now where I'm forced to lay in bed because I can't walk because of my ankle. You know what I mean? So I slowly got to do rehab, slowly got to get into working out. And it was things that needed to be fixed. You know what I mean? And now I feel great. I'm able to train full speed, no injuries. I'm not taking time off from practice because I got some little bullshit going on. Mm-hmm. So as close to 100% as I ever been in the last 10 years in the fight game. So, I gotta take the plus with that.
Well, that makes me really happy on many levels for you as an individual. It's so good to hear that you are not going to be 80, 90% of yourself. You can now give 100, 110%, not worry about these lingering things. As an athlete, someone who just got an artificial disc in her neck as well in December, I can understand the emotional roller coaster, the boredom, the who am I if I'm not training mindset. It's been emotional roller coaster. Just be happy you're not a female. We got all these extra emotions. I cry a lot. I'm still going through it. And so
You'd be surprised with guy fighters. We cry a lot too, believe it or not.
no sensitive side. But you know, this is what we're doing right now. This interview is part of me staying busy. Has there been anything in your downtime that you did to stay busy, whether it was, I know you have a podcast or other endeavors?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know, but me and your doctor, the doc, the dentist, Andrew, I help him out with the dental designs and mouthpiece guards. So I kind of try to stay busy with that. The new face meets fist line he's got coming out, so me and him are excited to get that going. But outside of that, it's definitely been the podcast, the Cage Minds, and you can check it out on Fight Club Instagram page and YouTube and everywhere. But that's kept me really busy. And then I have another podcast called the Never Lacking Podcast. I do with Roy Hibbert out in LA, and I actually got to go film this weekend. So I got those two podcasts that keep me busy. I might be working on a third one. So it seems like I might be trying to take over the podcast game as well. And, it's just things like that to kind of keep me busy and then keep me learning about things outside of the cage. I try to learn as much as real estate and business as I can, just so I won't have to rely on my fight money like I've been so long. So
that's very smart. That's very smart. A lot of fighters, I'm in my 30s now. I turned 34 in July. I still got some years left in me. I'm sure you do too. But I think too many of us wait too long to think about the next chapter of our lives. Unfortunately, right? We're like, we'll fight until the wheels fall off. And then when the wheels fall off, we'll figure it out then. But I don't think that's the way to go about it. I'm happy that you're staying busy and doing all these other things. So with the mindset part, we recently spoke to a psychologist. He's actually a mental performance coach. I know that it's a roller coaster, like I said, with the injury. Is there any advice that you would give people going through, maybe myself, going through an injury, or can you shed some light on what you did to not cry all the time, break down, get frustrated?
Yeah. Smoked a lot of weed, that's for damn sure. I tell you that.
That helps. That does help.
Yeah, so that's gonna help you right there and start out the back just to get your mind off some things and like that. But time heals all, and I tried to stay busy just reading a lot and focus on what I could focus on, like obviously I can't do anything because of these injuries. So just try to be productive, get your body moving. Try to think of other avenues, ways, plans. Just sit back and make a blueprint for when you come back. And, that way when you're healthy and healed, you can just hit the ground running. And I think that's one thing that, kept me calm in a way. And, I definitely, I was stuck in Vegas for 2 months rehabbing. I couldn't do anything. So I became like a semi-professional poker player, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I say semi-pro because I don't know even how to turn pro. They say you got to play too much, but I can't sit at these long ass tables for so long. But yeah, I just kept myself busy. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what it was. And knowing that, okay, like you have so many fights in the UFC, like you've done a lot at this point. Now it's time to do more. And just remembering like who I am, who I was before the injuries. And just like I said, time's gonna heal all. And now I'm back, I'm training, I can go, full speed, and now everything's like behind me. So now I got a lot to look forward to.
I agree. And, how old are you?
35.
35, similar in age, and I feel like at this time, people start wondering like, oh, are they going to hang it up or are they going to push through? And I think because you got all your injuries fixed and you're good to go and you're doing it the right way, you're not jumping back too soon. Before we start recording, we talked about some other fighters that maybe jumping back too soon. And yeah, is there any kind of advice you would give people who are, like I said, maybe thinking about jumping back into the sport before their doctor clears them? I know you are a veteran and you've done probably good things for your body and you've probably done things that are a little foolish,
Yeah.
but if we could learn from you at all, just some final advice on people dealing with injuries, because myself and just everyone out there.
Yeah. Take your time. You know what I mean? Listen to your body, take your time, go day by day, just take it slow. You know what I mean? There's no reason to jump back in and go full speed 110% like we all used to do in the early days of our career. Like we never took time off. Even when we were hurt, we still would jump back in. And maybe that's why we have all these injuries lingering around. And yeah, that's the best advice I can give you. If the doctor clears you and says, okay, you'll be ready to go in a week, take 2 more weeks after that, make sure that, you'll be ready to go and give your all before you get in there, because you go in too early, you get hurt, and now you're back on the sideline for another, 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. So, yeah, you gotta listen to a lot.
I agree. And, we touched briefly on the mental coach. Have you specifically worked with anyone, or has it just been you staying busy doing the podcast, or have you actually had a psychologist or a performance coach that you worked with one-on-one?
Yeah, so I do have one guy, his name is Micah, and the UFC actually helped us out with this guy, provided us at the UFC PI Institute, and he's a great guy, and he definitely helps you a lot with a lot of things. I've spoken to another gentleman as well, and the thing that I believe with mental coaches are, they're not going to work unless you're ready to sit down and listen to someone trying to help you. And when I was out there in Vegas trying to help, and it's so hard to be uplifting and upbeat and happy and look forward towards the goals when deep down inside it's like, man, I can't do shit. I got to go sit back and do nothing. And this hour talk might have been good for a little bit, but I'm right back to thinking of all the negative thoughts and things. And yeah, so like I said, those guys are great and everything, but I don't think they're going to fully work unless, you commit to it 100%.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, but that's with anything, right? Whether you are kicking an addiction, or you really want to go for a job, or you really want to be in fight camp, if you don't give it 110, and if you're not, in it with your full head and heart, you're not going to be successful. And I totally agree, coming from someone who dabbled talking to a mental coach, but as soon as they wanted me to open up on a personal level, I pulled back, and I realized that just like you said, you have to really want it and be open. I also know that you have been working with, like you said, Face Meets Fist, Dr. Andrew, and you are now part of injitsu.com. So injitsu.com is a platform that connects you and someone who may want to work out, other fighters, people learning MMA or jiu-jitsu. How has that experience been for you, just being able to talk to people one-on-one?
Yeah. Well, we're in the starter phase with myself. Like I said, I wanted to really get involved, but me being injured and hurt and not really being able to train myself, I can't really do much with other guys, but now it's gonna pick up, and I'll be available to talk and chat and train with anybody online. So check it out.
Yeah, injitsu.com, guys. Well, that's all I really have for you today. I know you're in between training sessions. I appreciate your time. And yeah, if you want to train with Mike or pick his brain about anything MMA related, it's injitsu.com.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Where can we find your podcast, and where can we find you on all social media platforms?
All right. You can go, my Instagram's Menace Fight, and my Twitter is Menace Fight 155. All my podcasts are on the Fight Club Instagram page, as well as YouTube under, Fight Club Media under YouTube, and it's on Apple Podcasts and everywhere you get your podcasts. So
one more question, because just for myself, I've yet to be able to check out your podcast. It's called Caged Minds. I'm assuming that you have MMA fighters on there, but what is the premise of your podcast? If I wasn't going to check it out, what's the little blurb you tell me?
Yeah, the premise is, honestly, it's just me with another fighter or another person who I want on, just actually shooting the shit, talking to each other. I kind of keep it basic, and at the end of every show, we kind of do a what's been caged in your mind, what would you like to get off your chest, or where you want people to know something about, or you really want to say something. So yeah, that's been my big thing. It's okay, I'm going to interview fighters. I think they're going to be more comfortable talking to another fighter about the fight game as opposed to talking to a journalist or, somebody that just sits behind a computer all day and has never gotten into a fight a day in their life. And, they might be a little closed off to speaking with them. But with me, it's just like, hey, yeah, bro, let's shoot the shit. Like I've been through it all, some with the other guys, so we can relate on another level.
I love that. Yeah. And here's my shameless self-promotion. I started my own podcast called Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl to be able to give fighters and other guests an opportunity to talk about what they want to talk about. How many times have you been asked, how's the weight cut going? What are you doing? What's the game plan? And you're just like, I'm going to shoot myself in the head if I asked another one of those.
Ask the person I just talked to and they'll tell you.
Yeah. So it's very cool to hear that you're giving fighters and all your guests an opportunity to talk about what they want to talk about again. So I'll check that out now that I know it's super awesome. But yeah, thank you for your time, Mike, and have good training.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And I'll have to jump on your podcast too as well.
Okay, yeah, get on there.
All right, perfect. Thank you.